Greetings, Miss Nostrum's class. This is your narrator, Zayden Galloway. And along to help me with this beautiful project was Lonnie Cruz and Emily Cruz.
Question 1. Explain how East Asia, Islam, and Southeast Asia developed from the years 1200 to 1450. During the development of East Asia, there was a rise in the Mongol Empire. The Mongol Empire created the Yuan dynasty in China, bringing East Asia more closely together to the trade networks of the world. The empire incite trade, which included the Silk Road, increasing merchants and boosting exchange. The help caused the spread of goods, technology advancements, and cultural ideas, making China a significant factor in the trade networks between the years 1200 to 1450. The Indian culture, also known as the Indianization, was a big influence on Southeast Asia during the 1st century. Parts of Indian culture, religion, and political ideas spread through Southeast Asia, which led to the rise of Indianized kingdoms like the Srivijaya and the Khmer Empire. These kingdoms adopted Indian concepts such as monumental temples and integrated Indian art and religious practices. This shaped the development of the region for centuries. Developments in Islam. Between the years 1200 through 1450, Islam spread all across Asia. New Muslim states replaced the Abbasid unity, and trade networks helped spread the religion in South and Southeast Islamic communities. Islamic communities built temples, schools, and advancements in mathematics, medicine, and agriculture techniques. Overall, the Islamic law, culture, and studies became united with many other societies.
Is a picture of the Islam through the years 1200 to 1450. These are two pictures of Southeast Asia. These are two pictures of East Asia.
This is question 2 of the AP World History Project. Identify and describe how Buddhism impacted China and Southeast Asia. This building represents a Buddhist temple. The architecture often blends with styles of Buddhism principles. The red door symbolizes the entry to a sacred space, while the complex detailing reflects the sophisticated artistry that flourished under Buddhism and became merged into the cultures, influencing art and architecture. The stone is a representation of a Buddhist monument. Could potentially be a portrait of Buddha himself. The weathered stone suggests the passage of time, indicating Buddhism's long-standing presence in the religion. The multiple faces represent different teachings of Buddhism. The surrounding trees emphasize the connection between Buddhism philosophy. These photos together show how Buddhism deeply impacted the cultural landscape of China and Southeast Asia, influencing art, architecture, and philosophy. They reflect both spiritual and physical presences of Buddhism and the religions over the centuries. To properly answer question 2, identify and describe how Buddhism impacted China and Southeast Asia. Between the years 1200 and 1450, Buddhism strongly influenced China and Southeast Asia. The development of Neo-Confucianism in China was impacted by Buddhism by blending Buddhist ideas with Confucian thought. It emphasized that the ideas of soul and monastic life influencing Chinese thought and religious practice, also inspiring the buildings of temples and monasteries. In Southeast Asia, Buddhism expanded through trade and missionaries, influencing the architecture and social values.
Question 3. Describe how Islam was able to spread so easily and conquer territories. These are pictures on the territories and the paths they took. Islam was able to spread easily and conquer territories by military expansion. This allowed Muslim rulers to bring land under the Islamic control, forming the function of Islam and reaching new religions. Another way Islam spread easily is the merchant activity. North Africa was ruled by Muslims, and that reality simulated trade and movements throughout Africa. Further south, the empire of Mali, bringing good, but also their religion and culture with them. This increased access to stronger trade connections among all of Islam, and many communities were influenced by the idea of equity and community in the religion. Lastly, the efforts of Muslim missionaries, a large branch of which was known as Sufi. The period of Sufism was new and emerging form of Islam that helped to teach the faith peacefully through preaching and good examples. Many of this were Sufis who focused on spirituality, community, and goodwill, which drew people to convert. This helped because of significant force for the spread of Islam across the territories. Question 4. Using the source given to you, identify and explain a claim or argument that could be made from a material scientific group. This is for question 4 and 5. The source: Reginald Monk of Durham, younger contemporary and colleague of St. Goddard. The Life of St. Goddard, a 12th century British merchant, written before St. Goddard's death in 1170. The claim and argument: after a life gaining wealth and material possessions, St. Goddard craved solitude and chose to abandon his possessions in order to feel more fulfilled by serving God. Despite the following peddler way of life and creating riches for himself through his hard work and dedication, both as a merchant and as a shipman, St. Goddard began to feel unfilled, and all of the material possessions he had gained began to mean less. He finally realized after years as a merchant that sending on a charity was one way to give himself entirely to God's service.